welcome to my class. I will be taking analysis phase from paper 0201, that is library system analysis and design, and I will be taking the analysis phase. Now let us see what is an analysis phase and how can we carry out. Let us see first what is system analysis. System analysis is a part of the system development life cycle. As you know, there are 5 phases of system development life cycle. First one being the planning, second is analysis, third is design, fourth is implementation, and the fifth one is maintenance. Alright, so I will be doing the second phase of system development life cycle, that is the analysis. System analysis is that part of the system development life cycle in which you determine how a current information system functions in an organization, and then you assess what users would like to see in a new system. Alright, it is like you collect data based on the opinion and views of the users. There are 2 parts to analysis phase. One is determining requirements or requirements determination, and the other one is structuring requirements, that is requirements structuring. The following figure you will see the parts, and in the following figure you will see that the highlights and focus on the chapter, right, which is determining system requirements. CS1, requirements determination and requirement structuring. Alright, this system analysis followed by system design, system implementation and operation, and system plan. First one is the system planning and selection. Alright, let me just tell you one more thing about the analysis phase. The analysis phase takes place in every phases. Alright, in design phases also analysis will take place, in implementation and operation also analysis will take place, and even in maintenance also analysis will take place. Alright, the analysis phase is divided into 2 categories. First one being the requirements determination, and under requirements determination you have the following 3 methods. One is traditional, next we have, which is followed by contemporary method, and then we have the modern methods. Following requirements determination, we will have another sub-phase, that is requirement structuring, and under requirement structuring can be taken place or can be carried out under 3 steps. First one is process modeling, second is logical modeling, and the third one is conceptual data modeling, or simply data modeling. Now let us see what is requirements determination. In order to perform requirements determination, you will need these 3 sources, that is the sources of information. One is from the users of the current system, second one is from the observing users, and third one from documentations and procedures. For example, like annual reports, organizational manuals, or the records of users. Alright, those are the documents or procedures. Some characteristics for a good system analyst are, right, in order to carry out the analysis phase, a system analyst must have the following characteristics. First one is impertinence, that is to question everything, like being curious, right, such as our transaction processed the same way, right? Or second one being impartiality, your role is to find the best solution to a business problem or opportunity. Next one is relax constraint. Assume that anything is possible and eliminate the invisibility. Next one is attention to details. Every fact must fit with every other facts. And the last one is reframing. Analysis is in part a creative process. All right, and you must challenge yourself to look at the organization in a new way. That is, to impose new process or new steps or whatever new technology is available. You should consider the new or more creative way to organize a system. All right. Let us see what are the deliverables and outcomes. Information collected. The deliverables are the information collected from conversation with or observations of users. These are the transcripts of interviews, questionnaire responses, notes from observation or meeting minutes. Write the details of the meeting. By meeting minutes means the outcome or the details discussed in a particular meeting. Next, we have existing written information such as the mission, business mission and strategy statements, like I've mentioned before, the organizational manual, the procedures manuals or job description, training manuals, flow charts, and documentation of the existing systems. All right, or the consultant reports, such as annual reports of the previous years, etc. Next, we have the computer-based information, which results from joint application design sessions. I will discuss JAD sessions later on. Then transcripts of files from group support system sessions, case repository contents, and reports of existing systems and displays and reports from system prototypes. In order to carry out the requirements determination, you need to understand the following components of an organization. The first one, the business objectives that drive what and how work is done. Right. The second one, the information in which how people need to do their jobs. Next one is the data, that is the definition, volume, size, etc. handled within an organization to support the job. Next, when, how, and by whom or what the data are moved, transformed, or stored. Next, we have a sequence and other dependencies among different data handling activities. Then followed by the rules governing how data are handled and processed, such as the policies. Right? Then we have the policies and guidelines that describe the nature of the business and the market and the environment in which it operates. By policies and guidelines, we mean the rules and regulation that has to be carried out within the specific system or environment. For example, in a library organization or in a library system, the transaction policies for users or members of the library, those are the policies and guidelines which describe the nature of the business. Next, we have the key events affecting data values and when these events occur. Now let us see what are these methods used in requirements determination. Techniques used in requirements determination have become more structured over time. The first one, that is the traditional requirement determination methods, includes interview, observing users, and collecting procedures and other written documents. Next, we have the contemporary method. All right, or the modern method for collecting the system requirements, that is joint application design. Next, you read how analysts rely more on information systems to help them perform analysis. Next, we also learn about prototyping. how it can be used as a key tool for system requirements efforts, and then this chapter will end with discussion of how requirements determination continues to be a major part of system analysis and design, even when the organizational change is radical, as with business process re-engineering, that is BPR, and new as with developing internet applications and disruptive technologies. We will study about these different methods one by one. So first of all, we shall see the traditional methods. The first one being the interview method. Individually interview people informed by the operation and issues of the current system and needs for systems in future organization activities. These are the following will be the type of questions asked in an interview. First one being the open-ended questions. There are questions asked in interview, questions that have no specified answers. That means no options are given to the respondent. Whereas close-ended questions, these are questions in an interview or questionnaire that ask those responding to choose from a list. Just like multiple choice questions, you'll be provided with options to choose. So those are known as the close-ended questions. That means you'll have to choose your response. Which one is more apt, then you take that one. Now we shall see how do we plan the interview. First one, you prepare interviewee appointments and priming the questions. You set up the questions. Next, you prepare checklist, agenda, and questions. Next, you listen carefully and take notes. Even a tape recorder is required, or you can record the whole interview in order for you to analyze the response more aptly. Next, we have the review notes should be within 48 hours of interview. Next, you should be neutral and then seek diverse views. Next, we have the questionnaire method, a survey people via questionnaire to discover issue and requirements. First, you have to choose questionnaire respondents. Next, you design the questionnaire. In order to design questionnaire, you need the following procedures. One is make it less expensive. Always use close-ended questions, and also add few open-ended questions. The reason why we use close-ended questions is for easy analysis. Alright. Next, we have interview groups of people. It is also known as group interview. With diverse needs to find synergies and contrasts among system requirements or core of JD. One drawback of using interview and questionnaire is to collect system requirements. That is the need for the analysis to reconcile apparent contradictions in the information collected. Clearly, gathering information about an information system through a series of individual interviews and follow-up calls is not an efficient process. That is why we have another option known as the group interview. That is to interview a group of people together. One important information from the outcome of this method is that important information is collected, more effective use of time, that is less time is wasted. Alright, hearing opinions of other key people resolve many conflicts. The disadvantage of using this method is that it is difficult to schedule. Alright, one, video conferences, chatting can minimize the geographical dispersion factor. Right. Next, we have observation, that is to observe workers at selected times to see how data are handled and what information people need to do their jobs. Alright, the details of or the outcomes of all these methods will be given to you. Alright, in a PDF file, and I will upload that as soon as possible. Right, these, just for now, just listen to how these methods are, how these methods help in analysis, and you can just listen and to how or what these methods are. All right, let me tell you again. Under traditional method, you have interview method, you have the questionnaire method, observation, directly observing users, and also analyzing of organizational documents. Right, just like I've mentioned before, the annual reports, organizational manuals, and procedure manuals, etc. Now let us see what is the analyzing of organizational documents. Study business documents to discover reported issues, policies, rules, and directions, as well as concrete examples of the use of data and information in the organization. Also, the records of users and members in a system. That is also one of the organizational documents. Next, we shall see what are the contemporary methods for determining requirements. Bringing together in the joint application design sessions are users, sponsors, analysts, and others to discuss and review system requirements. Using group support systems to facilitate the sharing of ideas and voicing opinions about system requirements. Alright, we can also say the JAD session resembles the library committee. We have different participants in a JAD sessions, alright, in which we discuss what a system needs or what an organization needs. Alright, in such a session we discuss the financial statements, then the new technologies that can be adopted, etc. Alright, using case tool to analyze current systems to discover requirements to meet changing business conditions. And also another process or another method under contemporary methods is developing system prototypes that refine the understanding of system requirements in concrete by showing working versions of system features. Now we shall see what is joint application design. JAD is similar to a group interview. A JAD, however, follows a particular structure of roles and agenda that is quite different from a group interview, during which analysts control the sequence of questions answered by the users. The primary purpose of using JAD in the analysis phase is to collect system requirements simultaneously from key people involved in the system. Just like I've mentioned before, JAD resembles a library committee. Alright. And the purpose of such sessions is to analyze or collect data from people involved in the system. The result is an intense and structured but highly effective process. The idea behind a JAD session is to keep participants away from as many distractions as possible so that they can concentrate on system analysis. This is the illustration of a typical room layout for a JAD session. Alright. It's just an example. Let us see who are the participants in a JAD session. First one is a JAD session leader. He plans, organizes, and runs the JAD. The users are the key users of the system under construction, are vital participants in a JAD. Next, we have the managers of the worker groups who use the system in question, provide insight into new organizational directions. Next, we have the sponsors or the donors, attends at the beginning and at the end. Then we have the system analysis. Members of the system analysis team attend the GAD not to run or dominate the process. They attend in order to give their insights or their opinions. Next we have the scribe. A scribe is the one that takes notes during the GAD sessions. And the IS staff, that is information system staff. Besides system analysts, other IS staff such as programmer, database analysts, IS planners, and data center personnel may attend to learn from the discussion and probably contribute their idea on the technical feasibility of proposed idea or on technical limitations of the current system. The case tools most useful to analysis during a GAD are those referred to as upper case. Right? Everything about these, each and every method, you will be provided with materials and other to understand them in detail. And it will be uploaded in Google Classroom, so please check from there as well. Please check these materials as well. So, next we have supporting GAD with GSS, that is group support systems. Right? The GAD process is typically not well supported by computing alone. Right? We have a group support system which is used to support group meetings, because GAD may suffer from many of the problems as any group meeting, like the time constraint or the members will not have the same opinion or the same insights. All right. Next, GAD will have in a GAD session, there is a time for everybody to speak. Some people try to speak all the time, so that is why we have the group support system, in order to see all these limitations. Others afraid to speak out for fear they will be criticized. Next, most people are not willing to criticize or challenge their bosses or their, for example, the certain users or certain member of a board will not have the courage to criticize the chairman. GSS designed to help reduce some of the problems with group meetings. It gives everybody the same chance to contribute. Group members type their comments into computers rather than speak them, and the GSS is set up so that all members of the group can see what every other member has been typing, so nobody can dominate the meeting. All right. Now we shall see what prototyping. Prototyping is an iterative process involving analysis and uses whereby a rudimentary version of an information system is built and rebuilt according to user feedback. You know what is a prototype? So it's like you have a demo of a system, right, before it is finalized or implemented. Alright, prototyping can replace the SDLC or augment it. Prototyping will allow you to quickly convert basic requirements into a working, though limited version of the desired information system. Alright, so prototyping is helpful, or prototyping is a process by which you build a prototype or a demo of the desired system, and you can improvise it, or you can use it temporarily and see how can you improvise it, or how can it be used in a system. Converting verbal descriptions of requirements into a physical system. Prototyping is possible with several 4GLs, that is graphic languages, and with case tools. Prototyping is most useful for requirements determination when user requirements are not clear or well understood. One or a few users and other stakeholders are involved in the system. Possible designs are complex and require concrete form to fully evaluate. And also when you have communication problems in the past between users and analysts, that's why you create a prototype and you can put your insights or your views and opinions. Alright, and both parties want to be sure that system requirements are as specific as possible. Prototyping has the following drawback, right? A tendency to avoid creating formal documentations of the requirement of system requirements. Next, prototypes can become very idiosyncratic, that is subjected to rapid change. It is dynamic to the initial users and difficult to diffuse or to other potential users. Prototypes are often built as standalone systems, thus ignoring issues of sharing data and interaction with other systems. Next drawback of prototyping is that it checks in the SDLC bypass on that some or more subtle but still important system requirements might be forgotten, for example security, some data entry controls, or standardization of data across systems. Next, we have the modern methods. Alright. Again, I'll repeat the details of each and every method in system requirements or in system requirements determination will be given to you in PDF format, alright, and it will be uploaded in your Google Classroom so you can check them. And please let me know if you have any doubt or if you need to clarify anything. Alright, so now let's move on to modern methods for collecting system requirements. First is the BPR, that is business process re-engineering. The search for an implementation of radical change in business process to achieve breakthrough improvements in products and services. First one, you identify the process to re-engineer. A first step in BPR efforts relates to understanding what processes to change. You must first understand which processes represent the key business process for organization. BPR will have different process or different steps, alright, and each and every step will be described or will be discussed in the material that I will be uploaded in the Google Classroom. Alright, you can see there what are the different steps or what are the different processes involved in a business process re-engineering method. The key business processes, the structured, measured set of activities designed to produce specific output for a particular customer or market. Next, after identifying the key business process, the next step is to identify specific activities that can be radically improved through re-engineering. Right? You have these three questions that you should ask while carrying out the BPR. One is, how important is the activity to deliver an outcome? Right? You must have an objective or a goal. Alright? So you have to check whether how important is the activity in order to deliver an outcome or to meet the need of the objective. How feasible is changing the activity? Next, how dysfunctional is the activity? Next, we have disruptive technologies. By disruptive technology, we can also say that technology that is always changing. All right, that doesn't remain stable but changes with time, or we can say that technologies that are dynamic. Once key business processes and activities have been identified, information technologies must be applied to radically improve business process. To do this, Hammer and Champy suggested that organizations think inductively about information technology. Induction is the process of reasoning from specific to general, which means that managers must learn the power of new technologies and think of innovative ways to alter the way work is done. The example of disruptive technologies, we can say that we can take the example of mobile phones. Right? Before mobile phones, we have the keypad. We don't have Android. We don't have iPhones. All right. You can also see that the phones that we have been using in the year 2000 changes from time to time. All right. Even Android phones also will have Android 1, Android 2, we have Eclairs, then now we have the Android 11. See, the technologies that keeps on changing, that keeps on updating, those are known as disruptive technologies. This is contrary to the deductive thinking, where problems are first identified and solutions are then formulated. And disruptive technologies can be summarized as a technology that enables the breaking of long-held business rules that inhibit organizations from making radical business changes. Right? Just remember that disruptive technologies is that technology which does not remain stagnant. Right? It changes from time to time, and it requires your knowledge how to use it, or how it can be formulated. Right? And that is all. Thank you.